Tuesday edition of the podcast. I'm Evan, joined by Jon Arias, voice of the Badger volleyball and basketball team, right? Women's volleyball, basketball. Appreciate you coming on because it's NCAA tournament time for volleyball. And for the 13th straight year, the Badger women volleyball team are in the NCAA tournament, 29th team in program history, and another great season for the Badgers.
Yeah, it was. It's still going. I was gonna say it was a great season. No, the season is still going. They had, the big part of the season where they missed Charlie Furbringer for basically 10 matches, half of the Big Ten schedule. She was still named first team All Big Ten despite that. But that's something I think when we look back at the season, we got to take a look at, like what happened here. Why are you where you are right now? But they look like a pretty good team right now with Charlie back.
Yeah, and I'm going to get to this year's team quickly. Actually, pretty much this year's team in general. But last year, from last year's team, you lost a lot of very talented players. Devin, Anna, just a lot of great players. Some people transferred out. And this year, especially with Collier, they've just seemed to not really lost a beat. And just kind of talk about just the impact Mimi Collier's had with this year's team.
Yeah. Sarah Franklin was such a dominant player for the Badgers.
Sarah Franklin.
Yeah. She was such a dominant player for the Badgers. To have Mimi Collier come in and put up here, I'm going to bring up her stats. To put up the numbers that she has put up, 5.3 kills per set, 484 total kills this season. So to put this into perspective for you, Evan, the 5.3 kills per set, that is going to be, unless she just, really struggles in the NCAA tournament, she's going to be up around that number in the 5.2s, 5.3s. The school record is 5.19. I mean, Badger volleyball has been around for 51 years in all different types of scoring eras, side-out scoring, 30-point rally scoring, and what we currently are in, 25-point rally scoring. No one has ever done above 5.19 at the University of Wisconsin. So she's at 5.32 right now. Her 484 kills are, what are they now? Number 3 all-time, I think. So she's trying to chase down last year Sarah Franklin, who set the all-time school record with 535, and Mimi's at 484. She's meant so much to the team this season. It's been crazy to be able to see Franklin. Franklin was so dominant. Like, she was the best outside hitter I'd seen. And then Mimi Collier comes in for one season and just starts crushing records. She has the school record for most Big Ten kills under 25-point rally scoring. So she's been everything. And you know what's funny, Evan, is I talked to Kelly at the start of the year, and obviously Mimi was a great pickup in the transfer portal. And I said, what are we expecting kind of out of Mimi? Like, can she be better than she was at Oregon, which is a 3-time All-American? And he's like, we need her to be better. And sure enough, she's been way beyond. Even like, if you had asked me at the start of the year, said, let's just do fun predictions and figure out what Mimi Collier's kills per set is going to be this season, I probably would have said, well, Sarah has the record at 4.46. I don't know, like 3.9, something like that. So she has exceeded a ton of expectations, and maybe my expectations weren't high enough for her. But she's meant everything to the Badgers. She sets up the Badgers offense.
Yeah, and you mentioned Charlie coming back from injury. To you, just how important has that been now coming into the tournament season with her being healthy and just the impact that she brings to the team?
It's meant a lot, and you can tell kind of just by the numbers, like efficiency wise, what they're hitting, and you can see it too. You can see the connection with Carter Booth, and that just seems like those two are really in sync right now. But I mean, she's an All-American for a reason from her freshman season, and she makes the offense go. She has the ability to keep defenses on their toes because you don't know where she's going to be setting, because she's so talented. She can move the ball around. She's the quarterback of the team, and they're better right now And I'm not trying to take a shot at Addie Horner, who filled in. She went 6-3 in the 9 starts that she started for Charlie. Charlie got injured early in the Michigan game. Addie came over and they won that game too. So if you want to count it, 7-3 for Addie Horner. And to be fair to Addie, the 3 losses were, one was against Nebraska. So, I mean, everybody who's faced Nebraska has lost. One was on the road at Penn State, a place that Wisconsin has won 3 times in program history. So there's not a lot of success, no matter who the setter has been ever at the University of Wisconsin. And then the other one was a 4-set loss to USC, a team that's closing in on a top 15 spot. But Charlie's meant a lot to come back, a lot as she's come back here for the team. She's the reason they can move the ball around like they can offensively.
Yeah, and Wisconsin's relied on a bunch of freshmen this year too. Christian, Madison, Natalie. You brought up
Horner.
Thank you.
Yep.
Just how the freshmen this year, that's had to been kind of impressive to watch them grow throughout the year.
Yeah, so Kristen Simon, she's the libero. She was just named to the All Big Ten freshman team. So, she's meant a lot because Wisconsin lost a lot of defensive back row players. They lost their starting libero, who went to UCLA on the transfer portal. They lost another DS who also played libero for them at times, and she went to Creighton. They lost another DS who was a libero for them before, Gigi, and she went to Tennessee, and they're all starting in their respective schools. And so they needed somebody to fill that hole, and they have 2 great freshmen, Anaya Warren and Kristen Simon, and Simon won that job, and she's been really, really steady defensive player, really steady passer. Madison Quest is someone who you got to give a shout out to, because I mentioned Charlie Furbringer's injury. Well, Grace Egan got injured too this season. She's the right side attacker, and she missed 7 matches. And it was Madison Quest, who had never played right side in high school. Like, she never played it before. She started in the spring and played some right side, and before the season played some right side. So she kind of got a little taste of it. But then she comes in and I thought she was outstanding playing. And then Addie Horner, like I said, the 3 losses on Horner's record is simply against top 25 teams and one against a team that hasn't lost this season. So all the freshmen, there's a lot of talent on this team. And the freshmen have definitely helped steady the ship when there have been injuries on this team, and or just like Kristen Simon just steadied the back row in her entire season.
And then Lauren Carolini, correct me if I'm saying the name wrong. I know she's former Badger legend, I think it's fair to say, when it comes to volleyball. What impact has she brought on the coaching staff? I know she was around last season a little bit, but now, assistant coach. What has she kind of brought to this coaching staff, in your opinion?
Well, she's brought, I think, a few things, right? So she's probably brought like the attitude. You know what I mean? Like, she's a baller. You know what I mean? Like, she is all about winning. And so there's all of a sudden like this, not that no one else is, they're all about winning, but she brings that attitude. She brings a wealth of knowledge, right? Because she's played so long. She's done it at the premier level, at the USA Olympic level. And then she provides some guidance for the setters, right? So, somebody like Charlie Furbringer can rely on somebody who's seen college, who's seen pros, who's seen international play, and can give her the guidance and the tips that are really valuable that I don't know if Charlie would get anywhere else. So Carlini's been a great addition, kind of helping guide the offense and guide Charlie. And she's been a great addition to the coaching staff for sure.
And then I know Sheffield's been around for a little while, but he had some pretty big shoes to fill when he came in, and he just kind of kept his program going in the right direction. Can you kind of talk to the viewers, listeners, a little bit of what makes Kelly Sheffield such a great coach?
Man, I think it's, experience, right? He's had the experience doing this, and he's evolved as a coach too. And he'll tell you from probably year 1 here to year 13 now how he's changed. He'll tell you for sure how he's changed, from a coach at Dayton to Albany to before that as assistants. Like, so he's evolved. But I think one of the cool things is that he's a teacher. You know what I mean? Like he's out there teaching, and it's a combination of that and being a coach. And I'm not sure if you Like, do you understand like the difference there? Like there can be a coach who tells you what to do in the X's and O's, but then there can be someone there to help guide you a little bit deeper. And I think Kelly's that guy. So I think his ability to teach, his ability to connect to players, and also he holds a high standard, right? Like if you don't fit the standard of being a Wisconsin Badger volleyball player, he's not going to pursue you. You have to be part of the culture, the drive to want to be elite. And those are the types of players he brings in, and having that standard helps him, now that he's been here for 13 seasons and had immediate success right off the bat in 2013 when they went to the national championship match. But, it's been great. The top players want to play here. And so he's kind of got that turn in there where the best players want to play here, the elite players, and then he picks the elite of the elites, and they've got all these great success. And then he's teaching and molding. And it's not just him; it's the entire coaching staff teaching and molding these players, and just trying to, teach them what it takes to be a winner.
Yeah. Then this is Talking Sports with Evan. I'm Evan Witallison, joined by Jon Arias, talking some Badger volleyball. And NCAA tournament starts Thursday for the Badgers, round 1. What are some of your keys to the Badgers to have success in this year's tournament?
Well, I would say their offense needs to be as dominant as they have been all season. So they come in, let me double check the stats. I think it was 315 at last check. So their hitting percentage is 317. So to kind of put that into terms of someone who may not understand volleyball, that's really good. So like if you're hitting around 300 as a team, you're doing a good thing. If you're hitting over 300, you're doing great. In fact, I believe this is on pace to be the second best hitting percentage in a single season at Wisconsin. So their offense is elite. So can you continue to have Mimi produce at the Mimi level, and then Mimi's going to open up things hopefully for other players offensively. Defensively, they're going to have, eventually in the tournament, you're going to face elite teams, right? Whether you face them in the round of 8 or the Final Four or whatever, like you're going to face an elite team. And so defensively, you have to be able to stop those teams. No matter how good your offense is, they're going to have an elite defense, and they're going to have an elite offense as well. So can you stop other elite offenses? And that gets to the blocking up front at the net, and that gets to the back row play and your ability to dig. But I'll tell you what, Evan, and I stopped asking this in pregame shows. Every single time I've ever asked a coach about the keys to the match, it's serve and pass. It always starts with the serve. How are you serving, and how are you taking the other team's serve, passing? So that will probably be one of the ultimate things, is how well you can get the other team out of system. So they're running all over the court, not able to pass the ball well, and how well you're able to control their serves. And Wisconsin's done a pretty good job against elite teams. They've done a pretty good job keeping in system, passing the ball well, getting the other team out of system. What's hurt them this season, they've lost to Texas in 3, they lost to Nebraska in 3, obviously the 2 number 1 seeds. And what hurt them was their transition game. So what do you do, after the ball has been served, you get your first ball, they get it back up. Like, what are you doing next? And that's where other teams, elite teams, have outplayed them. And that's where they've been outplayed. They've done great passing. They've done great serving. They've done pretty good offensively, but it's that transition game that teams like Nebraska and Texas have been able to get by them. So I think as we get later in the tournament, the transition numbers, like how offensively efficient are you in transition? I think that could be probably a big key for Wisconsin.
Yeah, I know Thursday is round 1, and then round 1 and hopefully round 2, both at the field house for the Badgers. Full disclosure here, I've been to Pfizer Forum the last 3 years to watch Badgers play, Marquette twice, and then tournament action. But I have not been to the field house yet to watch the Badgers play. So what makes the field house so special in such a tough environment for opposing teams?
Oh man, it gets loud, and it's packed in there. Like, have you ever been to the field house for anything?
Badger men's basketball back before the Kohl Center.
Oh, really? You went to a men's basketball game at the field house?
Yeah.
Okay, so you maybe remember was it a full house for one of those games, or do you remember?
I was pretty young at the time. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was a pretty good crowd.
Okay, so the crowd's kind of more on top of you than, for example, I'm just thinking of another team that draws well, and that's Nebraska. But they're a little bit more spread out. They renovated a basketball arena for theirs, but the field house, everybody's a little bit closer, and man, it especially especially in the NCAA tournament. Like the field house is loud all matches, but when the fans here in town know that this is win or go home, and we have 2 matches left in Madison, that's it. You're not going to get any more unless there's a major upset and the top seed isn't around after the second match. Then you could host 2 more. That's a pipe dream. That doesn't happen. So you've got 2 matches left at the field house, and so then they really show up, and then you know what's at stake, and then they really get loud. Like, it's some of my most exciting times calling matches is at the field house in the postseason, because there's so much at stake, and the crowd just tells the story. The student section has been so solid. They show up. The other end line, they're always waiting in line to rush to their seats, so they show up. It's just a great environment for college volleyball. It's one of the best environments in college volleyball, and especially come postseason time, man, it gets so loud in there. I mean, if I'm an opposing team, like, you're shaking your head going, oh my gosh, what did we just get into? Because this place is going to be, it's probably exciting, honestly, for them, because they're probably like, we don't see this very often. So, I'm sure some teams probably like that. But it can be very intimidating.
Looking at the NCAA tournament as a whole, I think it's safe to say Nebraska is probably the favorite outright for the to get to the Final Four and to the championship game.
Yep.
From your perspectives, Wisconsin's not had a lot of luck against Nebraska the last couple of years. What makes Nebraska so tough?
Well, their defense and their offense. Everything about them makes them so tough.
And after losing Lecky, their defense is still really good.
Yeah, like we were throwing so much at them in that first matchup in Madison, and they were just picking up everything. And they've got the setter of the year, which was also named the player of the year, in Bergen Riley in the Big Ten. And she is able to put their offense, if they're, not in the best position to attack, she puts them in the best position to attack, because she can just set the ball anywhere. And what's really interesting about Nebraska is, so for example, Wisconsin, their leading attacker, Mimi Collier, an outside hitter. Their second leading attacker, Una Vagic, an outside hitter. Their third leading attacker, a right side, Grace Egan. Their fourth leading attacker is Carter Booth, a middle. But Nebraska, I'm pretty sure, goes Harper Murray, Andy Jackson, Rebecca Alec, if I'm not mistaken. I could be a little off on that. So they get their middles involved. And that's a result of a couple of things. It's a result of being in system, so really good passing off the serve. And I think it's a result of Bergen Riley being able to find attackers at any given moment. So, they've had the number as of late. Overall, I mean, don't forget there was a 10-match winning streak by Wisconsin not too long ago in this series against Nebraska. And they're just, especially this year, everything is syncing up for them, where they lost 1 set in the Big Ten. They haven't lost a match all season long. They're a tough team for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for Thursday's match. And for those that want to listen to it, where can they find the Wisconsin Badger Volleyball Radio Network?
Yeah, so ESPN Wisconsin app on your phone. I would start there if you're, got the data plan and got the phone. I'd go to the ESPN Wisconsin app. On air, if you're driving around, 100.5 ESPN Madison, in the Madison area. If you're in Milwaukee on Thursday, we're on 620 WTMJ, 14:30 a.m. if you're in the Beaver Dam vicinity. But as always, on the ESPN Wisconsin app, I don't think announcer. I don't know. Do you know about announcer cam? Do you know what I'm talking about with that?
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, so it's on YouTube. They put a camera on me and Pete, or myself and Jess, and you can hear the broadcast. I don't think that's going to be a thing, so you can't listen on YouTube this week. I haven't gotten final word from that, but I don't think that's a thing. And then on Friday, if the Badgers are lucky enough to beat Eastern Illinois, then they'll face either UTEP or North Carolina on Friday, and that will also be on 100.5 ESPN. I believe that's going to be on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, and then it'll be on 1430 Beaver Dam. Am I right on that?
Yeah, I believe there's a Bucks game Friday night at 6:20 you'll have, so it'll be on 94.5, I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I can't pull up my email here on my computer for some reason on my personal laptop, so I can't confirm that to look at the schedule, but I'm pretty positive you are correct. But
okay.
I'm asking you these questions, and I already know, but for those that are new to the show, I do work for Good Karma Brands in the Milwaukee area as a weekend producer. So I've produced a number of your calls this season on the Milwaukee side. So
awesome.
Board op, I guess, is a more correct term, but still, either way, it's been a fun season to listen and watch, and just be a part of the experience. That's for sure.
Yeah, and hopefully it keeps going, man. Like if you look at the bracket right now, like let me pull that bracket up. Okay, so you can get by Eastern Illinois, you can get by North Carolina or UTEP. I know I'm playing it forward. Then the next team that should be waiting for you there is Stanford. I don't know why I did team. And the next team that could be waiting there for you is a 2-seed Stanford. And then you're obviously, if you keep on winning, you're going to have to likely face Texas, I would think, unless there's an upset. But that's the great thing about the tournament, right? You never know where that upset's going to be. Now, usually in volleyball, like over the years I've been doing this, usually in volleyball, it stays more true to chalk than men's basketball. But it's the game of volleyball is weird because, Pete Waite, who does the home matches with me, always said like he just loved to win in 3. Like as long as we got done in 3, that's fine. Because as soon as they win one more set, who knows what happens if you get to a 5th? Who knows? Crazy things can happen. So that could be the potential path for Wisconsin is UTEP or North Carolina, a little bit later Stanford, a little bit later Texas, and then who knows what happens if they keep on winning.
Well, most important thing is to handle business on Thursday to give yourself the opportunity to see Friday and then so forth, right?
Exactly. Yep. You got to take care of business. And this is me as a fan, just kind of looking ahead because I like to do that. But yeah, they are not looking ahead whatsoever. They are taking it all in on one match at a time.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you jumping on quickly. I will be talking some NFL and Packer Bears mostly Thursday show, but Packer Bear, any early insights there for you?
You know what's funny? I haven't been able to pay attention to the NFL at all. Honestly, it's between women's basketball and volleyball. I've been all in. I'll say this. What is the Bears record? I'm pulling it up. 9-3.
Packers 8-3-1. Thanks for that.
What do you think? You tell me first. You go first.
Well, and maybe it's the homer side of me. I definitely think the Packers do have a good opportunity to win the game. The Bears don't have a lot of trust in Caleb Williams. They didn't throw the ball much at all against the Eagles. They won on their ground game. And if you can contain the ground game and force Caleb Williams to have to throw the ball down the field, then you talk Micah Parsons. And Caleb's not the most accurate quarterback, and he likes to hang on to the ball for a while. That's how you got to beat the Bears. Force them to throw the ball and hopefully get some turnovers out of it. And you got to protect the football too. They're one of the leaders in the NFL in taking the football away. So protect the football and stop the run, which is usually your football blueprint. Packers should be in pretty good shape.
Okay. Yeah. I get it's the Bears. So I feel like I just have to pick the Packers. Like I know it's a 9-3 and it's a great story so far, but I just feel like I'm going to pick the Packers in this one.
Yeah. I guess before I do let you go, before I move on to talk some NFL, you mentioned basketball. Some early thoughts on the Badger basketball season thus far, women's basketball season. I know they got the new coach this year. What are some of your early thoughts? I think they're 6-3, if I'm not mistaken.
6-3. And I'll say this, they played Ole Miss, who was ranked number 13 on Black Friday in Daytona. And to me, going into this weekend, they had one loss. They were 6-1. They lost twice. But going into that match, that to me was going to show me a little bit more, give me a little bit more information about what type of team Wisconsin women's basketball may be this season. And they led after the first quarter. They were down by a little bit at halftime. Third quarter went all Ole Miss. And then the fourth quarter, they came back. They were within 2 points with about 2.5 minutes to play against a top 13 team on the road. And that is something a ranked win on the road has, or away, a ranked win away from Madison, I should say, because it was a neutral site, hadn't happened in like a decade or more. I don't even know if I've called one of those. And so they were there, and it gave me some optimism about this season. And I'll say this, if you haven't been out to a women's basketball game in Madison, I highly suggest going. This team is a lot of fun. This team has a lot of different people on any given night who are capable of being the leading scorer. What's cool about this team too is they're all about we and not me. And you'll see that in a couple of different ways. If you go to a game, Evan, go to a game. You'll see that the starting lineup, they aren't introduced as the starting five, like at guard. No, they say, and now your 2025 Wisconsin Badgers. And they come out to the court together. They don't have a starting five lineup introduction at home games. It's awesome. After games, if they're fortunate enough to win on their post-match or post-game interviews, rather, so far they've done this 2 times. The entire team gets behind the player who's being interviewed. Bucky joined them the last time. They're just all about like sharing the success of everyone. It's a team unlike I've never seen in my time calling women's basketball games. And no, never mind. I was going to give predictions. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep my predictions private because I came up with 3 tiers of predictions the way this season could go. And I'll just say this. I'm excited for this season. Okay. I'm excited for this year. It feels different. Whether or not that comes to fruition, only time will tell. But I think this team is, I think they're doing something in Madison. At what level yet? Let's find out. They play another top 25 team Sunday. Big Ten season starts with 1 game, then they go back to the non-conference. You know how they do that. But they take on number 20 Michigan State on Sunday at 5 p.m. That'll be another benchmark for me to see, like, okay, where do I think this team can be? And so I think Sunday is going to be a big test for 6-3 Wisconsin. But I'm excited for the women's basketball team. We could have another podcast talking about them.
Yeah, I definitely would like to do that as well down the road. But I know with the NCAA tournament starting for volleyball, that's kind of where I wanted to mainly focus. And I appreciate you coming on and talking Badger volleyball. Like I talk, come tournament time, I talk about them, but figure have the expert instead of me, talking about them. So I appreciate you jumping on. So
yeah, no problem.
But appreciate it and hope to talk to you soon. And I'm looking forward to the match on Thursday against Eastern Illinois. So. Okay,
and one more thing on the match on Thursday for anyone who's still or who's listening to this or who will listen to this, they're doing things a little different this year. So the first match starts at 4:30, and then Wisconsin will play 30 minutes after. It used to be first match at 4:30, then the Badgers at 7, unless the first match went long, then they'd go 30 minutes after the first match. But my understanding, if this match gets done in an hour and a half and it's 6 p.m., Wisconsin will be first serving it up at like 6:30ish. So keep that in mind, Badger fans. 30 minutes after the conclusion of the first match, that's when Wisconsin is going to play Eastern Illinois.
Thanks for that. And again, I'm excited for it. And I didn't make it a point for next season. I will get to the field house for a couple matches. That will happen next year.
All right. You can come up to the upper deck and say hi to me in the broadcast spot.
I'll definitely do that. We'll have a great call on Thursday and hopefully Friday and then on Sunday, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, Evan.
Cool.
Bye.
Jon Arias, the voice of Badger volleyball and women's basketball. A big thank you to him for jumping on and getting ready for the NCAA tournament for the Badger women's volleyball team. Now you can find Talking Sports with Evan, this interview specifically with him, or you can obviously listen to the remainder of the show as well at Talking Sports with Evan on Facebook and YouTube, or on X, where most of you are watching, at Evan with Sports. Give me a follow, subscribe, a like, and then the podcast will be on Spotify probably within the next 20, 30 minutes, depending on when I wrap up the show. But if you have any comments, any questions that you want to share NFL-wise now, feel free to give a comment here. But before I do go into the NFL, kind of the story of the day that I've seen in the Milwaukee area anyways is involving Giannis and the Bucks. Giannis has deleted all his tweets or posts on X or Twitter dating back to 2021. He's deleted a bunch of stuff on Instagram. He's changed his to NBA athlete or whatever. That's kind of been the talk of the town, and looking like he's frustrated and mad. And here's my take on it. I don't really care. First of all, he does still follow the Bucks on Instagram. If he was truly, done with the Bucks, maybe, I'm saying this sarcastically, I don't think he would still be following them on Instagram. And X, he's never followed the Bucks on X. He's very limited on who he follows there. But on Instagram, he still follows them. And at least as of a couple hours ago, I guess I haven't looked in a while, but let's look again. Open up my Instagram app, search for Giannis, and following. And sure enough, the Milwaukee Bucks is still under his following. So, but at the end of the day, we as a society have gotten too attached to social media and what we see on social media. A player deletes something, a player posts something, a coach posts something, and we all need to look for the deeper meaning. Sometimes there's not a deeper meaning. I'm sure somebody's going to ask him, somebody's going to ask Doc Rivers tomorrow, what's the story behind, deleting all your tweets. And I'm sure he's going to have an answer that's going to give some chuckles. But I don't think Giannis is going tomorrow demand the Bucks trade him. I don't envision, I don't feel that there is a Giannis trade looming anytime soon. But with that said, if Giannis were to ask to be traded, I would have no ill will towards him. Giannis has given his heart, his soul, his blood, his tears to the city of Milwaukee since he was drafted. He brought a championship to Milwaukee. He signed 2 or 3 extensions to stay in Milwaukee when everybody's talking about that he's going to be leaving. He's looking for every opportunity to leave. He's always stayed, and he's always called Milwaukee home. He said Milwaukee will always be a home to him, and he's done a ton for the community in Milwaukee. Diaper drives, other community volunteer community service to the city of Milwaukee. And if Giannis were tomorrow say, hey, trade me, I wouldn't have any ill will towards him. But Giannis has also constantly said, I'm not going to ask for a trade. The team's going to have to make that decision for me in regards to that. So don't overreact. Don't look too deep into the meaning of what he's doing on social media. He's known to be a troll. He's known to do things to get reactions out of people because I think part of him thinks it's kind of funny and goofy. And I know losing to Washington is no laughing matter, but at the end of the day, Giannis, as far as I know, is dedicated and committed to the city of Milwaukee and the Milwaukee Bucks at this point. And if that changes, so be it. And wish him well wherever that is, and hopefully the Bucks make the right decision to get talent back here in Milwaukee to compete for a championship once again. But with that said, moving on, Thursday's show is going to be more strictly Green Bay Packers, the Packers and the Bears preview. I just want to talk NFL in general right now. And my basic comment about the NFL right now, and I won't be much longer, is the NFL is crazy this season. The division leaders right now are the New England Patriots, the Baltimore Ravens, tied with the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Jacksonville Jaguars tied with the Colts, with the Texans, a game behind there. And you got the Denver Broncos, who in second place is the Los Angeles Chargers, and third place is the Kansas City Chiefs. That's your AFC. That's how your AFC looks right now. Your NFC, you got the Philadelphia Eagles with the Chicago Bears, Packers a half game behind the Bears. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Carolina Panthers a half game behind Tampa Bay. They're same number of wins. And then you got the Rams and Seahawks tied to the division lead with San Francisco at 9-4, percentage points behind them. The NFL has been crazy this year. And every time we think there's a dominant team, like it was looking like the Rams were that team, that dominant team, they've been kicking the you-know-what out of everybody, they lose to Carolina. The Packers have looked good against Detroit. They looked good against the Commanders before the Commanders became what they are now. They played tough defensively against the Eagles, but then they lose to the Browns and they lose to the Panthers. And so the NFL is just crazy this year. And I guess the one thing that'd be interesting to see is Kansas City. Kansas City's in serious trouble. Like, they have to win out to make the playoffs. And this is the Kansas City has made every year since Pat Mahomes became the starting quarterback for the Chiefs, they've made the AFC Championship game every single year he's been the starting quarterback. They've won multiple Super Bowls since he's become the starting quarterback. And now for the first time in the Pat Mahomes, Andy Reid era, the Chiefs are in serious danger of missing the playoffs. This Kansas City Chiefs team right now reminds me very much of the 2016, I think it was 2016, Green Bay Packers. I think that was the run the table year, and they ended up losing to the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC Championship game, and that's where you had the ridiculous catch by Jared Cook to set up the game-winning field goal by Mason Crosby. The Packers that year, before Aaron Rodgers said, we're going to run the table, they were struggling quite a bit to find their footing, find their identity. So the Chiefs can still get hot, and apparently the Chiefs are going to make the rest of the league feel it in their tonsils. Not really sure what he means by that, Andy Reid, and not really a good image you get when you hear that, but the Andy Reid saying that, hey, we're not giving up. We still got our goals ahead of us. We can still make the playoffs, but at the end of the day, they really gotta win out, I think, at this point. And then the Philadelphia Eagles. What is going on in Philly? They're 9-4. They've now lost 2 in a row. They lost to the Bears. Their offense has just been ugly. And I don't understand how, the why. Like, the Eagles got, by the looks of things, the Eagles got lucky that the guy who's now the head coach of the Saints, and his name's escaping me at the moment, they kind of got lucky he fell in their lap. That the Cowboys decided, we don't want you anymore. And he and Kellen Moore. They got lucky Kellen Moore fell in their lap. Because they make the Super Bowl, both those coordinators leave. One goes to Indy, who has the coach playing pretty good football. The other goes to Arizona, who may not make it through this. He may get fired this season, but that's besides the point. They hire a new offensive and defensive coordinator, and things don't go well. And they started out the year 10-1, but the offense was sluggish and didn't look that great. And they ended up losing to Tampa Bay in the first round of the playoffs. The offensive coordinators let go. The defensive coordinators let go. Vic Fangio's brought in, longtime defensive coordinator. You don't have to worry about him leaving anytime soon. And you bring in Kellen Moore. And guess what? You win the Super Bowl. Kellen Moore leaves to be a head coach, and now you can't get the offensive coordinator position right. And things just seem very doom and gloom in Philadelphia right now. I think Philly might need to go find a new offensive coordinator again. And I don't really know if I trust the head coach in Philadelphia, his ability to make the right decision, because he's made the right decision from an offensive side of the ball twice. But after the offensive coordinator left for a head coaching job, the next hire has not been good. And A.J. Brown seems to be not happy at times. Barkley we see it all the time. Not all the time. We've seen it in the past when a running back has gotten 2,000 yards rushing, like Barkley did last year. They tend to struggle that following year. We saw it with Adrian Peterson. We saw it with Jamal Lewis. We saw it with Barry Sanders. They tend to struggle that year after that 2,000 yards. And that's kind of what we're seeing with Barkley right now. The Cowboys are red hot, but I'm not that sold on the Cowboys at this point. But they are red hot right now at 6-5-1. But the NFC North is definitely a division to be reckoned with. You have the Bears at 9-3, as John and I mentioned. You have the Packers at 8-3-1. The Packers defense looks elite. The offense looking like they're getting their stuff together now. Jordan Love's entered full Toyota-thon as the quarterback. Then you have the NFC South with two-team race with Tampa Bay and Carolina, which I think Tampa Bay ends up winning that division. But Carolina is definitely playing some pretty good football right now. And Buffalo, they've sitting at 8-4. The Patriots winning 10 in a row at 11-2. Buffalo might be looking like a wild card team to me at this point. So the big thing, the big lesson that I feel I've learned with the NFL this season more so than any other, it's a very week-to-week league. And you can't get too excited or too down after every win and loss. You got to take everything with a grain of salt. And for the Packers, it's just about getting hot at the right time, getting the playoffs with some momentum. If they win on Sunday, they're now the 1 seed in the NFC. They have the Bears the next 2 out of 3. You have Chicago, Denver, then Chicago again. Big thing is just, as I said mentioned to John, it's about handling your business, and that's what it is for the Packers. The Packers, they have to handle the business on Sunday to put themselves in position of division lead and that 1 seed. They don't handle their business on Sunday, well, it's not the end of the world, but now you just make it a little bit harder for yourself. And you open that door a little bit for Detroit, who has a tough matchup too. And Detroit is in must-win mode on Sunday now as well. But with that said, thank you to John for jumping on and talking some Badger volleyball with me. Thank you all for tuning in to kind of listen to me ramble and rant about the NFL current seedings and with Giannis. You can find this show on Spotify within the next hour. If you don't want to look at my face for 42 minutes, that can be the avenue that you go. But the live stream, the video will be up on YouTube and Facebook and X that you can watch at any time. And you can watch all the past shows too on X and YouTube. Facebook has started, taking videos down after so often for some reason, but that's besides the point. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. Join in on Thursday at roughly 8:30-ish, depending on how the Badger volleyball match goes, because I'm going to be focused on that quite a bit. But thank you for watching, and I'll be with you all later on this week. Have a good one, everybody.